staggering new coronavirus numbers.
Okay, wait. Here's another thing. I actually have people calling me and coming up to me, Mika, saying, oh, well, this coronavirus, it's going to be over by November the 3rd. The media is only propping the coronavirus up because of the election. No, see, that's what Donald Trump does and other right-wing news organizations do and Facebook do about caravans from Mexico that are going to bring leprosy to America. That is garbage. The coronavirus, sadly, tragically, is still very much with us, despite the lies that you've been told by Facebook and Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Willie.
Yeah, you used the right word, Mika, staggering. The latest NBC News tally shows more than 148,000 COVID cases were reported in the United States just yesterday. That beats the previous daily record of nearly 134,000 cases reported on Monday. This now marks the 8th straight day that more than 100,000 cases have been reported in the United States. There were another 1,500 deaths reported yesterday as well. Texas has become the first state to surpass 1 million coronavirus cases. Leaders there have not given any indication of new forthcoming restrictions. Meanwhile, hospitals in Massachusetts, Michigan, other states canceling elective surgeries to make space for what they expect to be a flood of new COVID patients. The Mayo Clinic Health System says its hospitals in the northwest region of Wisconsin already now have reached capacity. The state of North Dakota is so short on staff, the governor is allowing healthcare workers who have tested positive for coronavirus but who are asymptomatic to continue working in hospitals. In Iowa, a record number of patients are in intensive care. In Illinois, there was a new high of infections again. Things so dire in that state, the Washington Post reports a group of doctors there sent an urgent letter to the governor saying, quote, we're having to almost decide who gets treatment and who does not, rationing care in the state of Illinois. And a group of healthcare workers in that state predicts Illinois will surpass its ICU bed capacity by Thanksgiving. Several states are issuing new restrictions amid the surge in cases. New York State will require restaurants and bars to close at 10 p.m. Private gatherings must be limited to 10 people. The Republican governor of Ohio reissued a mask order and warned businesses if they don't comply, they could be forced to close. Utah also issued a mask mandate on Monday, meaning 34 states now require people to wear face coverings in public. And the state of Maryland urged people to avoid non-essential travel to 35 states that are struggling with the virus. Earlier this week, Connecticut added Maine and New Hampshire to its travel advisory, which now includes 44 states, Joe. So far from going away, far from disappearing after the election, it's clear that what's happening now is exactly what was signaled to us even back in March by people like Dr. Fauci, that this was going to come back with a vengeance come fall and winter.
Well, and you know, it's so important for us to go back because so much is thrown at us in this shock opera. So many lies are thrown at us every day by Donald Trump. And one of the lies was it was going away in April. And then he started lying to Americans, saying it wasn't coming back in the fall. Dr. Fauci stood there and said it will come back in the fall. Dr. Fauci, Dr. Gottlieb, historians, everybody back in the spring and early summer were begging Donald Trump to focus on the fall because they said it's coming back. And if it's like the pandemic of 1918, it'll be even worse. And Willie, it looks like we're headed in that direction. The numbers are worse than they've ever been, just like the doctor said, even while Donald Trump was lying to his own supporters.
Yeah, and it's maddening and it's outrageous that you think about how long we've had to prepare for this moment and how little we've done. We've heard the frustration from the doctors who come on our show every day. We've heard the frustration from people on the task force that hasn't been heard from in several weeks, that they knew this was coming, that they predicted this, that they laid it out, and that the federal government, led by the White House, didn't do anything about it. We heard Donald Trump on tape in Bob Woodward's book. He knew how serious this was. He even knew how this was going to play out, but he infamously said he always wanted to play it down for political reasons and not to panic the country. But here we are, exactly where the doctors told us we were going to be.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And
and you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.